welcome to our pioneering episodes of Behind a Smile. This is a business podcast series. It focuses on the best business tips straight from the industry leaders in healthcare. To celebrate Oral Health Awareness Month, we have a smashing lineup. And we have today Dr. Eubulus Timothy. So welcome, Dr. Timothy.
Thank you very much, Chantal, for inviting me, and hello to everybody.
So I want to share with everyone just a little bit about your background. And I'm only going to be able to share a little bit because you have so many accolades. I don't think we can actually fit it onto one show. So you are known to be the dental surgeon. That's almost the aesthetic surgeon. You see the local celebrities. You're a teacher. You are a writer. You are an award-winning filmmaker. Now you describe yourself as a disruptor. You have at least you have a background in marketing. You have a background in journalism, directing, as well as cinematography. So I really am so grateful for you taking the time out to be with us again. I have just a few questions because you know that our audience is here to hear just how did you get to be where you are? And I think you're one of the most inspiring leaders we have. So I'm wanting to know, how do you keep yourself inspired?
I just think I have an inquiring mind. I always had, even as a child. I always wanted to know a little bit more. I saw the world very, very different. I remember as a kid, I thought I was an alien because I thought differently from everybody else, and the things I did were different. But I had an inquiring mind. I wanted to know more. And what I try to do is that there's something called axial tilt, which is 24.5 degrees. The axis of the Earth is to the North Star. That gives us the different seasons, that we have an habitable planet that we can live on. I try to think at 24.5 degrees in everything I do. I want to see it slightly different from everybody else. And I think that's what it is.
That's absolutely fascinating. I think that you're a change agent in many ways, and your inspiration is infectious. And I think you do a lot of aesthetics. We're going to be talking about aesthetics just now, but I want to know from you, as being somebody who not only is successful in dentistry, but was able to be successful in other industries. I want to know, when you don't have that public optimism, when you don't get the award, when you don't get the trophy, and you're trying your very best, how do you keep yourself going?
That is the very essence of what it is to be someone who's always striving, in spite of what is happening around you, in spite of the fact that you are not getting where you want to get. And what a lot of people don't realize, I feel like that most of the time. Most of the time, I am trying to get where I need to be. And I feel sometimes like, I'm actually, I'm failing at what I'm doing. Maybe it's a little chip on my shoulder that helps me go forward and reach out, but never give up. Never give up. If you truly, truly believe in something, and you truly believe that you need to do something or go somewhere or attain something, never give up. Always try. Always try. And it's whether you get there or not, it's about the journey. Because sometimes on that journey, where you are aiming for may lead you to other things or other people and other ideas. So never ever, let go of what you really truly believe in.
Oh, well, that's really remarkable. It's something that I really admire about you is I think you've always been very open-handed with your advice to practitioners. And a really important question that I'd love for you to give us your view on is, you've done well with aesthetics when it's the main industry that it is now. Now, how did you get it to become that? And what sort of advice would you give to people who want to put aesthetics into their general practice and they want to make something out of this now? They want to have this business improve. They want it to be a practice builder.
Well, this is it. We forget that as dentists, especially as dentists, we know more about the head and neck than all the other doctors and professions, because we have to study it in detail in anatomy. So we know it inside out, whereas the doctors have to study the whole body, and dentists know the details. We tend to stick to the mouth, But we now know, we are learning more and more every day, that the whole head is related to the mouth. Everything from the brain to the scalp, to the chin, to the neck, to the shoulders. We are now seeing how different things are affecting the body from because of what's happening in the mouth. And so aesthetics, is, like I say, you are prepared to spend 100,000 rand on new teeth, on a smile. It's like spending a fortune on windows and not worrying about your blinds or your curtains. And the lips are your curtains to the mouth. And so if you beautify the lips, and we understand now, how simple it is. And the one word that everybody, especially healthcare professionals, get very upset with is Botox. All it is a muscle relaxant. And it is not about having funny lips or things like that. No, that's fillers, silicone, or plastic surgery gone bad. Botox is a muscle relaxant. It relaxes the muscle. And so we are able to do certain things with it. And we use it, not only we use it as aesthetics, but use it beyond it. But it can be used. And that's the most important thing. It can be used and without hurting anybody. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to use. And then fillers, it's made of hyaluronic acid. Every single cell of our body has hyaluronic acid. It's a naturally occurring substance in the body. And what fillers do is it augments what is lost. So if there's loss of volume in the face or in the lips or any part of the neck, we can augment it. But it doesn't mean you have to go overboard. A lot of my patients, in fact, all of my patients, most of them, their spouses don't know they come to me. Their friends don't know they come to me because I don't make them look grotesque. I make them look fresh and younger. One quite well-known person was telling me she was sitting at this women's function and they all were going on about Botox and fillers and threads and all this sort of stuff. And then they turned to her and said, but you don't have to worry. You just look good. And she smiled. And she said, I don't know how I can help you because nobody knows I come to you. And that's the thing. That's a huge compliment when nobody knows and yet they look good and they look fresh. And I don't like to use the word younger, but it's looking fresher. And that's what it is. People say, oh, wow, you look good. What's happening? And they don't know. I run a 8 CPD point hands-on workshop for introduction to facial aesthetics, and where we do fillers, threads, Botox, PRP, and we introduce the doctors to aesthetics, and they get to inject during my workshop. They will inject. And so the biggest problem I think most doctors have is that they're scared to stick the needle in the face. They can stick a needle in the mouth, they don't have a problem. As soon as it comes to the face, oh my goodness, they have the fear. And so the aesthetic, the workshop I do is that I take them on a journey of understanding what it is. I spend a lot of time with anatomy. I used to do an anatomy workshop before, but we can't have cadavers anymore. It's very difficult. You have to know the anatomy of the face. You have to know where everything is. And you have to know it in depth and in detail. And when you do know the anatomy and you do know how to use a needle, how to hold the needle, it's not the same as you injecting. You need almost like you're writing, like a pen. It's how you use your needle and how you get to it. And your needle is always away from the face. So you don't inject this way. You inject at an angle. You separate the muscle that you're working on. Also when you're working on bone, if you're putting filler on bone or you're putting filler in the lips, you've got to understand it. There's a lot of blood vessels. There's a lot of possibilities that can have bleeders, and the fact that we stick so many needles into our patients' faces and they don't bleed that often, it's quite amazing because the face is full of blood vessels.
Yeah, it does sound like that you need to be an artist as well as a scientist to be good at it. What I really admire is that anyone that's really good at what they do, and they've been so successful with it, they often spend a large number of hours perfecting the art and perfecting the science. So just knowing enough behind it before you even try it is something that is definitely one of the tips that have repetitively come
Yeah.
up in the series, is that everyone says You gotta just do the hours. You gotta do
Yep.
the hours before you get there. Now, there have to be challenges. And I'd love to hear, how do you overcome these challenges?
Well, there's grades of challenges. First and foremost, when if you're doing aesthetics, always trying to keep up with what's happening, making sure that you are within the boundaries of what is safe, because you can do damage if you don't know what you're doing. Like anything, I mean, same in dentistry, you can do damage. So you got to always remember that, and then you work towards it, and always as though I'm doing it for the first time. Never mind how many times I do it. I always have that little edge that something can go wrong. There's a little bit of not fear, but just being cautious every time. And I do it whether it's in dentistry or whether it's in aesthetic. So you never let your guard down. Oh, I've been extracting for so long. I can do it with my eyes closed. Yes, you can. We inject the inferior alveolar nerve basically without any vision, you know, and yet it's such a complicated injection going past so many structures, important structures, and dangerous structures. And yet we do it. So if we can do that, we can do almost anything. But always remember that you can go. Then also from the point of view, from a personal point of view, in your practice, sometimes the practice is not doing it the way it should be doing, the way you want it to do, and then you feel, oh, am I the failure? Am I getting it wrong? Or, oh, I did something wrong. It's human nature, and so you rise above that. Yes, we are living in difficult times. Yes, there isn't enough money to go around. People are weary. We just came out of a pandemic. We shut our world down for 3 years. Never heard of. Unbelievable. Never in the history of the world. Yet we, as a race, as human beings, overcame. We overcame this, and we managed to get through it. We lost a lot of people along the way. Millions died. A lot of our co-workers died, and we overcame, and so we can overcome whatever happens you know
So let's talk about overcoming, because we've known that there's been some major incidents in your life, just health incidents that you've had to overcome. And I'd love to hear your journey around how that has impacted the way you do dentistry, or the way you do business, or the way you do your cinematography. How has that impacted you?
Yeah, it's very strange. Most, I'm relatively fit. I don't have any predisposing factors, no sugar or diabetes. I mean, or blood pressure or anything like that. I hardly eat candy and things like that. I go to the gym quite regularly, eat healthily, maybe a little bit overweight, but we all are. And then one day I actually fell down in 4:25 in the morning on a Saturday, on the 22nd of October 2016. And I passed out, and I knew I was going to die. I saw the so-called light, the white mist coming in. I prayed, and I shouted, and I passed out. And next minute they were getting me up and went to hospital, and my BP was 29. I actually had a heart attack, and I knew something was wrong. And they found out, I actually had died. The reason I live is I've got collateral perfusion. So I have a natural bypass. It was an amazing journey. I cannot tell you the peace that you find at that space. And I try to go back, when you're upset sometimes, to get into that space, but you can't, because you may never go back. So, and then of course, and that was one thing. And then of course, being the way I am, I'm always on the move, always jumping up and down, doing things. And was at ICC for an event, and I jumped over a wall and fell down, hit my head. And I ended up in hospital. I drove to the hospital because I couldn't find anybody to take me, soaking. And then they found out that a huge crack at the back. Everything was intact in the brain when they did a scan, but they did tell me that I had arachnoid cyst, and that means my brain is 1/3 smaller than your brain in relation to your skull. So there's quite a lot of space on top. And so a couple of months later, I started getting severe headaches here on the left side. Then, of course, understanding, because I had arachnoid cyst, I did not self-medicate. And this is what we do. We self-medicate. We are very good at that. And so that's what the problem is. And lucky I went in, and then they drained the huge hematoma from behind the eye to the occipital area. And so they drained it, and it was pushing on the midline, so I could have fallen down dead anytime. So
This is amazing. I think that, we were laughing about it and we're talking about walking on water. And I really do feel that there are these episodes in life. They're iconic episodes. There's these moments in time where it's almost close to death moments that make you more aware of how good life was. Has this happened to you? And do you see any differences in the way you would do something, or the way you practice, or the way you'd treat a patient? And, has any of that changed since?
yes, I mean, you understand how much life is worth. It's amazing. I mean, I had to reach out to a patient today who was very, very low, extremely low, and I had to reach out. And we dentists do a lot of counseling. We don't realize it when we are talking. And these incidents have made me appreciate what I have and what I can do, and that every day could be the last day of my life. And am I living it to the fullest? Because if I said today is the last day of your life, you want to live it to the fullest. That's how I live my life now. Every day is the last day, and I live it to the best of my ability. I try to make it as though if I die today, it's okay.
I think I have to share with the listeners that you currently are going to go and have another op, but you insisted to get our interview done first. It's really a testimony of you live by those rules, that every single day matters, every single moment. You're humble. It's a humbling moment when you get to even hear from someone like that.
Because like I think you mentioned about, I believe that we can walk on water. I believe that you can, and when you do, it means that you're not looking down. You're looking up. You're looking forward. It is not about the past, and because sometimes we get bogged down by our past stuff, and we tend to forget. If we don't look to the future, we cannot define our present. And that's what it is. When you look forward, you walk on water. Everything else doesn't matter. And you have that ability to overcome and to be the best you can be.
I want to know from you, just from this amazing mind of yours, I'd love to know, where do you see dentistry? Where do you think dentistry is going in the next 5 years?
There's so much happening. A lot of good things, a lot of exciting things, a lot of different things. AI is changing it, changing the world. But there's certain things I feel right now, when it comes to dentistry, we still have that edge over robots and being animated. Yes, we have more fancy cameras and we have more fancy equipment, and I think lasers and things that are going to play a more bigger role going forward as we developing it. And I think the technology is where everything is going to be. We're living in a time where we don't know. We are standing on a new place where technology and AI and machine learning and all this sort of stuff is new, but it can take us forward. There's good things and there's bad things. I'm always looking at being in the forefront of trying new things and new ideas and new concepts. But this is the first time. I also have a little bit of apprehension because we really don't know. Yes, we can put, to give you an example, is that we can put guidelines of how the machine should be and how a machine should learn. And then what the machine may then decide to do, okay, I can't kill human beings and I can't do this and I can't do that, but I can get it, but I need a bit more power. So where can I get the power from? Oh, there's a hospital next door to me. I'll steal the power from the hospital. Suddenly now the hospital is struggling. So we don't know how it will work and what will happen. and how the future will go. But we're in an exciting time. It's so different, from any other time.
Yeah, I think that it's a very futuristic way forward. So, I end the show always sort of quick success tips, call them one word wonders or one sentence that you can just give us a tip in. I'm going to ask really quick questions and we're just wanting you to give us an immediate answer, whatever comes into your mind. What is your daily stress reliever?
I think just being able to sit and spend time and breathe, and being able to make time for myself. You got to make time for you. If you don't, you are in trouble. And it's not
Yeah.
sitting watching television, which we all do, but actually spending time for you. Go learn an instrument, learn to paint, learn to do something different, learn to make your neurons fire, new neurons fire in a different way. We need the change. I also say, beside walking on water, is to learn to fall backward. When you fall backward, you're not waiting for somebody to catch you, but you learn to fly, because then you look up and you do not see the earth, don't see what's underneath you, and you learn to fly. And so that's the most important thing. Another thing, it's okay to lament. If it's okay to feel sad and to share that sadness inside you. So lamenting is also good. Sometimes we forget to do that. We're so caught up in everything we do. So lament, learn to fly, fall backward, and walk on water.
Okay, so you're doing a lot, for stress relief on a daily basis. I'm wanting to know from you, what is the worst business advice that you actually did take?
Boss, I don't have any really bad business advice, that I took. But also the other thing is that when people do give you advice, it's your option to listen to it, whether you accept it or not, and you don't have to. But I can't think of anything that I've actually done that I regret. Even things that didn't work out, whether it was my choice or somebody else, influenced me in making that choice. It is about that journey, and I always look at it from that way. And yes, I have the option to lament about it.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Still working, cannot think about retirement. I think they will carry me out. Yeah, because the thing is that what do you do? And I've seen this is something else that we've got to worry about. Is that I've seen it with some of my patients who were teachers before COVID. They were thinking about going into early retirement because they were offered packages from schools, and many of them are disillusioned with teaching, and so they took the option. And then I saw them after COVID, and they had changed. They'd become withdrawn. They're switching off, and a lot of the time, people who had good lives and then suddenly they retire and they have no value. The children, their children, and this is the thing I say to kids, or to do not micromanage your parents in love, because sometimes they just need to be free. I'm very blessed. My parents are they 88 and 86 and totally self-sufficient. They don't need me for anything except to be there and love them. That's it. Do not micromanage your parents, because then you will be micromanaged and you don't understand. Do not let yourself get into a place where you just vegetate. And going to work every day and doing the same thing without rethinking and trying to can also make you vegetate.
I know you have many accolades, but what are you most proud of?
It's the one that the Itaqueni Film City gave me as the best filmmaker. First ever award in that category, and they gave it to me. And it's always, to be recognized at home. I did win the first award that I won in for movies was in Hollywood, the Hartley Medal Screenwriting Award, and it was at the Academy, with the big huge Oscar standing behind me when I got the award. And Irv Kushner, who directed The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, he gave me the award. And but it was not. It was at that time. Oh wow! But then when you come here and then you win an award from your own city, I think that was more inspirational for me and more meaningful.
So I thank you for your time. we're celebrating some of the best in SA, in the health industry, and you are one of them. You are in that line, and we're watching you. So where can we get hold of you? What are your URL details where if anyone wants to know and touch base with you, how can they get hold of you?
Google me, my name, and then my contact details are all there. And my Facebook page is Eubulus Timothy. That's the handle at Eubulus Timothy, or Instagram is at Eubulus Timothy. Twitter is at Eubulus Timothy. So having an unusual name is easy. So TikTok, whatever. So you can just these social media platforms, or you Google me, or my website is eubulus.com, and also Doc Timothy, as in DOC Timothy.com as well. And I'm in Musgrave, Durban. But it's easy.
I know that your new movie's coming out. Can we know when?
Well, if you have been following like East Coast Radio, they've been very supportive of me and of the project. And so ever so often it comes up, when I am, something important to say. We are in post-production now. We finished shoot the movie. Post-production, it takes a long time for post-production because we're doing it slowly and putting it together, and it may be towards the end of the year or early next year, so we don't quite rush that part of it.
We want to just thank you, and we hope that you're going to shed some more light with us a little bit later on. So thanks so much. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Bye.
Covered starting up and how to turn your vision into a business. And in our future episodes, we look at leadership, we look at multi-practice success. Now, I'm grateful for you, and I would love to hear your ideas. What questions do you need answered? Please drop me a mail at behindasmile2@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and remember, you are heard, you are seen, and on this platform, you are invited. Let's make it happen together.